Kailangan ko na ibotones yung pangalawa para may katulong yung una. Para dalawa sila. Sige lang.
Last 13.
Copy. The Philippines detects its third case of the Omicron variant. The death toll from Typhoon Odette increases, but the NDRRMC and the PNP report different figures. Video footage of the exact moment Typhoon Odette ripped open a stadium in Surigao goes viral on social media. With 3 members of the Comelec Unbank retiring soon, what happens now to the petitions filed against Bongbong Marcos? And let's take a look at how big tech sees smart glasses as the next big thing. Fast, focused, and fearless. Here's everything you need to know as you jumpstart your day. I'm Charles Lejano. A third case of the Omicron variant has been detected in the Philippines. This as the WHO warns that Omicron might overtake Delta as the dominant variant in the country. Jen Calimon has the report.
Less than a week after the country reported its first 2 index cases of the Omicron variant, the Philippines has just detected its third Omicron case. The patient is an unvaccinated 36-year-old returning overseas Filipino from Qatar. He arrived on November 28 and underwent facility-based quarantine. He tested positive on December 5. His December 19 test already came out negative.
The case completed his isolation in Cebu before traveling back to Cavite, his hometown. The case is currently finishing his home quarantine in Cavite to be asymptomatic since his arrival.
The ROF had 3 close contacts from his trip. All are now under home isolation with negative test results. So far, there are only 3 known cases of Omicron in the country, with Delta still being the most dominant variant around. However, the World Health Organization projects Omicron to surpass Delta as the dominant variant. Former NTF Special Advisor Dr. Tony Liachon is seeing the same projection.
Ang problema naman, sila po ay highly transmissible kahit mild ang symptoms. So, ang ibig sabihin, pwede pa rin nilang matangay po yung infection at madala nila sa area na unvaccinated. So, magkakaroon po talaga ng rapid transmissibility.
To prevent this, the government is now ramping up vaccination, but that just hit a roadblock. With the onslaught of Typhoon Odette, more than 600 local governments from hardly hit areas have suspended their vaccine drives. Some vaccine vials were also damaged due to power interruptions.
Unfortunately, as of December 19, 100 vials of Pfizer vaccines in Region 6, Bingawan, Iloilo Province, was reported to be wasted. The National Vaccine Operations Cluster shall replenish stocks of Region 6.
The National Vaccine Operations Center has advised vaccination sites to monitor the temperature of storage units to maintain the shelf life of vaccine vials. Reporting for News 5, Jen Calimon, We Are One News.
The latest data from the NDRRMC shows 58 reported casualties in the aftermath of Typhoon Odette. Of that number, only 9 are confirmed, far from the 200-plus death toll being reported by the PNP. The NDRRMC clarifies that most of the reported casualties are still undergoing strict validation. Meanwhile, 18 have been reported injured and almost 200 have been reported missing, but almost all of these are still under verification. As for the trail of destruction that Odette left behind, over 3,800 houses have been damaged and an estimated 225 million pesos worth of infrastructure has been destroyed. while damage to agriculture is so far estimated at over 118 million pesos. One of Odette's most heavily battered areas is Surigao. Surigao Sports Complex, which had just been inaugurated last month, has been leveled to the ground by the typhoon's onslaught. Gemma Vansenia with the details.
More than 1,000 people, mostly women and children, sought refuge in this once world-class sports and tourism complex in Surigao on Thursday. But it was no match for Typhoon Odette's strong winds and torrential rains. The typhoon ripped open the stadium, as captured by Kirby Abihoran in this video. Fortunately, according to Kirby, no one was hurt in the incident. Some people made use of the tables as shields to cover themselves. The sender of this video, Francis Vargas, said they were there until 4 p.m. In the end, the recently inaugurated 630 million complex has turned into rubbles. The entire province of Surigao del Norte, in fact, was almost unrecognizable. The News 5 team tried to visit it again 2 days after Typhoon Odette's onslaught. Travel was not easy due to landslides and toppled trees. When we reached Surigao City, electric poles were toppled and communication lines were down. All buildings were heavily damaged, if not totally destroyed. We also saw some residents at the side of the road now homeless.
Grabe talaga yung bagyong yun. Umuslat ang bahay, sira. Nagliparan yung mga bubong kaya dito kami sa baluster ng kalsada nagtago.
Airport operations are still suspended since the runway is full of debris. The port of Lipata is closed also because of debris brought by the typhoon.
This is under investigation sa engineering kung safe pa ba itong gamitin sa mga biyahero o sa barko. Kasi pag hindi safe, ito ay i-close muna namin for renovation or rehabilitation.
This group of fishermen came all the way from the Dinagat Islands just to seek aid. The island was also ravaged by Odette and food there is already scarce.
Wala nang kain talaga. Buko lang kinain namin sa yung mga patay na baboy. Kinakatay na lang namin. Gutom na, yung mga bata namin. Walang makain talaga.
Residents are resorting to a local spring water source to take a bath and to wash their clothes. But despite the situation, the unwavering spirit of the people of Surigao still shines through.
Ganyan talaga mga Pinoy, kahit anong sitwasyon ang dumating, kahit anong trahedya ang dumating, masaya lang.
For News 5, Gemma Vansenia, we are One News.
Telecommunication lines are still down in most parts of Cebu following the onslaught of Typhoon Odette, making coordination difficult among personnel of the NDRRMC. For now, the Provincial Council estimates that there are at least 30 dead in the cities of Cebu, Lapu-Lapu, and Mandaue alone. Survivors in the province are meanwhile traumatized by the deadly typhoon, which not only ravaged their homes, but also destroyed their hopes of a merrier Christmas. There's still no power, water, and food supplies left in many parts of the province.
Ang hirap dito ngayon, tubig. Wala pang signal. Kung may mga family man kami sa ibang lugar, hindi makapangumusta sa amin o hindi makabigay ng tulong kasi wala eh. Walang signal cellphone. Kung mayroon mang signal, wala ding magpag-chargean kasi burn out nga.
Mahirap kami, pero nagsikap kami. Pero ngayon, yung pinaghirapan namin, nawala talaga. Wala na kaming uuwian. Masyadong nanghingi ng tulong. Pero sa ngayon, kailangan namin yung tulong. Kasi wala na yung bahay namin.
94 deaths have so far been recorded in the province of Bohol. And local authorities say this number might still increase. 18 people, on the other hand, are still missing. PDRRMC estimates that over 200,000 families were affected by the typhoon across 43 towns in Bohol. Some communication lines are still down, which is why the provincial government was only able to contact some of the mayors 3 days after the typhoon hit the area. Bohol is now calling for additional supplies of food, water, and medicine for affected residents.
Muntik na talaga akong bumigay, ma'am. Sabi ko, Lord, huwag mo naman sana akong kunin kasi hindi ko pa kaya. Hindi ko pa nagampanan lahat ng tungkulin ko bilang isang ina. Tapos, yung nasa isip ko talaga itong bunso namin, 8 years old pa lang po kasi siya ang bata pa. Ayoko pa siya mamatay.
Ang hirap namin, wala kaming mabihisan. Wala kaming damit. Ito, mga 3 araw na sa katawan ko, wala pa kami isan. Wala kami mga banig, lahat ng mga gamit namin, wala na.
Saan po kayo natutulog, ma'am?
Ito, yung mga anak ko, yung mga lantay-lantay na lang ang ano nila. Diyan na lang sila natutulog. Sabi ng anak ko na sobra ng lamig. Sabi ko, tis-tis tayo.
The retirement of 3 unbanked members of Comelec will not delay their resolution of the pending cases against Bongbong Marcos. That assurance came from Comelec itself as the First Division prepares to hear 3 disqualification cases versus Marcos Jr. in January. Commissioner Rowena Guanzon earlier said that the preliminary conference for these disqualification cases is set for January 7th. Meanwhile, the 4th disqualification case has been raffled off to the Comelec 2nd Division. Recall that 3 members of Comelec Unbank are retiring next year, and they are Chairman Sherif Abbas, Commissioners Antonio Co and Rowena Guanzon.
That should not affect the timeline, no? Because the primary decision will be coming from the division. And I think that the commissioners will want to clear their dockets before they retire.
Big tech sees smart glasses as the next big thing. Their secret weapon to push mass adoption? Let's find out from this Bloomberg Quick Take.
During the lockdowns, people's eyesight got a lot worse. Now, that's bad news for speckies like me, but it's potentially an opportunity for the Silicon Valley companies that are betting on smart glasses being the next big thing. There's lots of data that shows quite how bad people's eyesight got over the past few years. In fact, in the UK, the Royal College of Optometrists found in a survey that 22% of Britons think their eyesight has deteriorated over the past 2 years. Similar data has come out of the US and China. That's potentially bad news for people who are looking at computer screens, but when you think about augmented reality, the companies that make those smart glasses think of it as real estate. If you're going to have to buy glasses anyway, well, it's easier to convince you to upgrade to something which has a little projector in it and lets you see the world around you. The challenge that that industry has is not only coming up with a killer application, showing that they look cool, that sort of thing, but getting them onto people's faces. The problem is these glasses are, right now at least, really expensive. Microsoft's HoloLens costs $3,500, and that's just the base price. If you're an early adopter, you might be likely to buy it. If you're a company that sees a corporate purpose for having these products, you might be likely to buy it. But for anyone else, before they think about spending that kind of money, it's highly likely they're going to want to try it on. That means possibly having some sort of brick and mortar location. Unlike Amazon or Apple, Facebook doesn't have an established distribution network. Apple has something like 500 stores globally. That's an advantage when you want people to try out your products before they buy them. What Facebook does have is a partnership with Ray-Ban. It's making smart glasses that have a camera on each side, let you upload photos and videos to Facebook's platforms, not least Instagram. But Ray-Ban is a unit of EssilorLuxottica. And as well as Ray-Ban and Oakley and Persol, it also owns LensCrafters, Sunglass Hut and David Clulo in the UK. In fact, it has 8,000 retail locations around the world. That makes Apple's 500 look relatively paltry in comparison. And of course, with smart glasses, particularly in augmented reality, there's a good chance that if you need corrective lenses, these glasses will have to be tuned to you. Having a distribution channel that therefore is an optician as well could give you something of an edge when you're competing with the other tech giants. But it does need to convince EssilorLuxottica to distribute its products beyond just these Ray-Ban glasses. It could cut some of the distribution deficit that it has to Apple.
Here are the stories to watch out for later today. The Senate Blue Ribbon Committee continues its probe into the Health Department's use of pandemic funds. The Energy Department is scheduled to discuss power restoration efforts in areas heavily affected by Typhoon Odette. And the AFP will be celebrating their 86th anniversary. President Duterte is set to attend the event virtually. And that's how the day is shaping up to be. Join us later at 9 a.m. as we monitor the day's biggest stories from sunrise to sundown. You can also catch One News on Signal Play. Register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com. so you can stream One News live anytime and anywhere. I'm Charles Lejano. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We're One News.